morning, student. Today we have a third part of this video, and in the second part we will discuss about the conditions that occurs after the death of monarchist King Louis XVI from France. And this part we will discuss about the conditions that occurs in the France after the death of after the executions of Jacobin government, especially the Robespierre, who are the main leaders of Jacobin societies, and what are its effects on the France everyday life. What is the women revolutions in France, how slavery system starts and how these systems end up. This we will discuss in this part. First, from the government that starts after the Jacobin government. So, after the death of Robespierre in France, then the wealthier middle class again gets chance to science in France, and they take the full advantage of the opportunities, and they control the kingdoms of France. They are the merchant, they are the now controllers. So, to reform in the societies, they again made a new constitution for France. The purpose of their constitutions to decentralize the powers, because they learn a new lesson from a Jacobin government. When Jacobin government, the Robespierre become again a monarch and use his powers according to his own will and didn't care the constitution. And he turns the French government according to his own will to fear from another monarch. They learn a new lesson. So they check on the centralization powers and stress on the decentralizations of the powers. They didn't want anyone become monarch in the futures. So under the new constitution there was a provision. There was two legislative councils and a dictatorship. These dictatories have the five members, and all five members are elected by the legislative council. This legislative council have a full control on the dictatorship or the dictatories. These dictatories, five members, are elected by the legislative councils, and even the legislative councils have the right to remove the all five members. But these conditions set the France unstable, because whenever the legislative councils try to remove any member, then dictatorial members always reject to follow their conditions. This led the France into instability, and this instability of France led them to another monarch, that is Napoleon, who set to rule in the France during the period of 1804 or 5 or early 19th centuries. So now we discuss about the pro-women revolutions in France, especially the Olympics. Women of France are always plays an active role, especially when the men fight against the Austria after the removals of Louis XVI, or whenever the national assemblies pass a new constitution. So then national assemblies declare war against the Austria and other neighboring kings who wants to attack on France. That time the women played active roles, and even the normal revolutionary days, women have the active participations in the work. So during the period of our revolutions, they always hope that the government provides them the new features and try to remove their difficult life, especially the women of a third estate who work as seamstresses, laundry work, and some of the women who sell the flowers, fruit, and vegetable at the market. Some of the women who work under the noble houses as a domestic servant. They have no right for the training. They have no right for the education. They have no right to set their own business, especially a small scale business. So there is a no hope for political participation. But some daughters of a wealthy third estate families have the right to get the education. But after the completions of education, mostly of them are arranged by the family marriage and have the marriage. So there is no chances to adopt the any business by the any daughter or a woman. But after the marriage, the woman works for their family, the cooking work, fetching water, and standing the long queues for the bread because that time France was suffering from shortage of a bread, shortage of a food. So women have to stand for the long period of a time to get a single bread for his family. Even after them, they take care of a family, the children's. So, women also set the two political clubs in the France. The first is the Society for of Revolutionary. Second is Republican Women. These both clubs plays the active role for providing the women the political as well as the social rights. But after some time, under the national assemblies or after the period of a national assembly, especially the period of Louis XVI, the women get the social rights. They get the right to education. Government set the schools for the education and compulsory education for women is also there. They get the right for the training. They get the right for setting a small scale business, small scale shops. But they didn't get any political right. Even they get the right to reject the person who with whom his parents want to marry her. They also get the equal right on the case of divorce and comparison to men. So they get the social right, but they didn't get any political right. They continue their revolution. But during the period of the Jacobins, the women who demanded the political right was executed by the monarchist revolutionaries. So they continue their revolutions, but they are successful for their political right in 1946. Then they get their new identities. Now look at the pictures. This is the picture of Olympe de Gouges, the woman who executed her life to provide the basic political rights for the woman. She strongly criticized the conditions of a woman in France. Whenever the declarations of rights of a man and citizen was passed out in France, she strongly wants that these rights should be provided to the woman. So she wants another declaration of her rights to the woman and citizen. She addressed even to the Queen and the members of her national assemblies during the period of 1793. She strongly criticized the Jacobin government and who want to close the women political club. But after some time, she was executed by the Jacobin government. So she sacrificed her life for the women revolution. And even the modern women who have the political rights, it is due to the Olympics. Well, now we have to the revolutions of slavery. The slaves system was as their welfare property. The the France government have the France have the three Caribbean colonies who are the best to provide the things related to the supply of tobacco, indigo, sugar, and coffee. These are the San Domingos, Montiguis, and Guradi Leafs. These are the main the ports these are the main colonies of the France in Caribbean land. So there was a time when the plantation owners demand labor for the plantations. So to meet the shortage, the French colonial or the owners always use the triangular trade route to supply the slaves to these plantation owners. This triangular route was connected with the Europe, Africa, and America. So first of all, it starts with the Vortexus and Nantes, the two main coasts where they have to start the journey. From this, they reach on African coast and meet the tribe owners or the tribe leaders who provides them the slaves. And after getting the slaves, they start the 3 month voyage by packing and handed the slaves. Slaves are tied by tightly on their ships. To cross the Antarctic, they reached the European countries and sold the slaves to the plantation owners. They used them for exploitation or as a plantation labor. But the French societies want to end up exploitation. Even the National Assemblies tried to end up this, but they are failed because they have the class of middle who wants to continue. But Jacobin government end up at this. But after the 10 years of a Jacobin government, there was a Napoleon rules in 1805. They again starts it. Then it was finally end up during the period of 1848 when slavery was totally abolished from French colonies. Now, the revolution and everyday life. After the censorship abolition, and now the peoples have to declaration and they have the right, they have the right freedom to for the press because due to this, the philosophers gets the right to criticize the government. The flaws now there was a lot of newspapers articles who provides the knowledge to the peoples of France. After the declaration, right, there was a period of a Napoleon period in 1805 because due to the instability of France. But Napoleon also wants to reform the societies. He set the standard maturations. And after some time, in the Battle of Waterloo, he was defeated. And after the French societies again have a terror. They also want to get a constitution. Thank you.